You all right, Sans? Do you want me to put it in the kitchen?
Sandra is in debt.
Come on, please.
Why haven't you got your heater on?
Because I can't afford to put it on, that's why. I don't get paid till after January, but the second week in January, so I have to go without. It'll go on when family comes home and goes to bed.
In her case, because of an error in overpaid benefits. Benefits she now has to pay back.
That's it.
Oh my goodness, she's so sweet.
Until the debt's cleared, it's almost halved what she has left to spend on food. With a granddaughter coming to stay, her finances can't stretch to feed another mouth.
I have £5 a week to get 14 breakfasts, 14 dinners and 14 teas. At the moment I have £5 a week to get 21 breakfasts, 21 dinners and 21 teas. Put that in your pot, love. Could you do it? Because I can't.
Well, round you usually walk on the grass.
Debt is an invisible burden being carried by the country's most vulnerable.
I've just thrown in some cereal and some little toys and that, yeah.
New research for Sky News shows just how big a burden that is.
Right, 3 kids we've just said in that one, haven't we? There's 3 in that one.
Many here in Rock Ferry, Merseyside, rely on crisis handouts just to make ends meet, with many borrowing simply to live.
I am in debt, which I am paying off, and it's coming out of my wages and going to a debt company. Due to my past circumstances, I'm struggling so much at the moment. I have 3 children, 12, 14 and 17. We aren't sure how we will get through Christmas.
For the first time, food donations here can't meet the calls for help. This is Neo Community House in the heart of Rock Ferry in Birkenhead. It's volunteers catching families in crisis.
Is that all yours, Beth? A suggested donation of £150.
People pay what they can afford to stretch their budgets before borrowing.
I'm taking that.
More Christmas pudding.
More Christmas puddings.
They offer food, warmth and advice to people dealing with debt.
They can come in and they can eat for free. You know, that's what we do. We won't turn anybody away.
They're now helping more working families than they are people on benefits. Low incomes simply too low to make ends meet.
I've been out and bought a 2-year-old a bed out my own money a couple of months ago. Some of them really get to you. Some of them you can walk away from, you can help them and walk away, and some they have you up all night in tears.
Oh, so this is the one that should have gone with the formula.
As we're speaking, Ali realises an emergency delivery for a new mum has been left behind.
Her baby's crying as we speak because it's got no milk. So she's got a 5-week-old baby who's starving.
These are problems they deal with every day of the year.
Every time you go to lock the door up, you've got another one pulling up outside.
Around Christmas, there's just more of it. More calls from people needing loans, electricity, food. The baby formula eventually makes it to Michaela. She had a baby girl 5 weeks ago, but her maternity pay hasn't been paid, along with her growing pile of bills.
I have actually contacted these and explained the situation, and they've put a 20-day stop on that. These have been the last of my worries.
It's been tough enough for Michaela as a single mum on a low income, but no maternity pay at Christmas pushed her into mounting debt with a newborn and an 11-year-old.
Stephen's old enough to actually know that there's a problem. He can see that I'm upset, where she can't. So, but it really upsets me because it just adds to the stress of what I'm already going through. And it's not like I don't work. I work hard.
And what debt do you have?
Council tax, which the bailiffs got my door. Yeah, a couple of days ago. I just started to text them and say I haven't got it, and the only thing I have got is the telly. And you know, you're welcome to come and take it, but you'll be taking it from my son. And he didn't even message back. I don't know if he felt sorry for me, but I'm just worrying now that he's going to show up at any point and actually don't answer the door. Like, you know, if people knock, I don't answer it.
Like Sandra, Michaela's in debt because of a bureaucratic error that for people in average salaries would be manageable. But for people experiencing poverty, it can be a crisis. Research done for Sky News shows the poorest 10% of households with a debt spend a third, 34% of their gross income on repayments. That's more than 3 times the case for average household incomes. And 31% of people experiencing hardship use loans to finance day-to-day spending. That's bills, food, simply living. And among this demographic, 32% are already having difficulties keeping up with debt repayments. Again, these figures much higher than for those on average incomes. So where can people turn for help? One offer has come to Michaela in the form of a letter from loan company Provident. It sells the picture of a perfect Christmas, along with loans at 535%. Merseyside is home to some of the poorest parts of the country, and these letters offering doorstep loans are falling through letterboxes in the most deprived areas like Rock Ferry. The high levels of interest are to finance lending to high-risk customers. Debt isn't a deprivation issue, but affordable credit is.
The main difference being, if you have money, you can borrow relatively cheaply from a bank or credit card. But if you're scraping by, who's there to sub you? Well, for people experiencing poverty, 2 of the main sources of cash are doorstep loans and loan sharks. And when finances are really stretched around Christmas time, these money lenders are targeting some of the poorest streets in the country.
And like loan sharks, companies like Provident are legal and provide credit that otherwise wouldn't exist for many people. But the debt can spiral frighteningly out of control.
They said once I paid so much off I could have another one.
Mary took out a £300 Provident loan last Christmas, then another. She doesn't want to be identified, so we've changed her name.
What are the repayments?
About £55 a month.
Are you paying them?
No, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it.
So what's happening?
I just keep getting letters off different bailiff companies.
Mary is also a single mum and doesn't have family nearby for help. But you don't need to look far in Birkenhead to see the alternatives. Traditionally, loans were funded by the state or friends and family, but those safety nets don't exist anymore for most people, and a new industry has grown to fill that hole. Provident is the biggest provider of doorstep loans and home credit in the country, with 440,000 customers. We went to see them at their office in Birkenhead, but they didn't want to speak to us. They did send us a statement, though, and said our customers need access to credit to live their lives. We lend responsibly. Our customers know what they need to pay back, as the amount they repay is fixed at the outset. Voice recording now takes place on our customer visits to ensure we have treated our customers fairly. Many people here have taken doorstep loans to make ends meet. The interest is high, but it's been capped by law since 2015. But loan sharks preying on vulnerable communities around the country are criminals and set their own terms. We've been told they are operating here, but fear stops people telling us much more than that. Their enforcement methods can be frightening.
We believe that loan sharks are operating in most communities.
But here, the tables have turned. The illegal money lending team are about to doorstep a loan shark in Leeds with an arrest warrant.
Open the door, please. It's the police.
When we get there, the suspect claims he's locked in and his wife's gone out with the key.
OK, where's your wife?
She went with the dog outside.
Have you phoned her?
I don't have a phone.
You don't have a phone?
Yes.
OK, if you don't open the door, we're going to force entry.
His wife then appears with the key.
I am working part of the National Illegal Money Lending Team. You're now under arrest. And this way. This way.
The man arrested on suspicion of operating as a loan shark was later released and inquiries are continuing. It's estimated £325 million is borrowed from loan sharks every year and more than £700 million paid back. The interest so high, one man borrowed £1,500 and repaid more than £60,000.
And this is what we see time and time again. They portray themselves as your best friend, they portray themselves and they get into your psyche that they're a friend.
And what sort of interest are they charging on
And we see interest APRs. I mean, our average APR is about 15,000%, but we've seen as high as 4.5 million%.
And what sort of behaviour have you seen towards people who can't repay those debts?
We've seen everything from assaults to wounding, kidnapping, and even as far as rape.
We've been told nearly 310,000 people in the UK are in debt to loan sharks, with the benefit to criminals and value of loans reaching nearly £36 million. Jackie has never used a loan shark, but as a single mum with 6 children, she's built up debt that'll take years to clear.
I've been in a lot of debt where I don't even read my letters anymore. They come through my door and I just put them straight in the bin.
What debt are you in at the moment?
Thousands. I do my voluntary jobs and I work at the Hive as well, just to keep myself out the house. Save on gas and electric through the day, to be honest. Go in through the night time. We go to bed early and stuff like that.
Despite working at the local youth centre, she says she struggles just as much as when she didn't have a job and puts pressure on herself to provide for her kids, especially at Christmas.
Each kid, I always spend £800, and this year I've just said, listen, £400 enough.
Do you really need to be spending £400 on each kid at Christmas?
We didn't have much growing up when I was a kid, and I always wanted to give them what I never had.
Debt often affects women more than men because they earn less and have more childcare pressure. And in Michaela's case, unpaid maternity. She's still concerned the bailiffs will be back.
What the hell's the bailiff done? You weren't getting answers then. Like a surprise. I haven't ordered anything.
And with no credit to make calls, we lent her a phone to try and track down her maternity.
Am I going to get paid this month? What happened to December's month?
She's now received some money and an apology from her employers and applied for a debt relief order.
They can apologise all they want and they can say, we understand, but they don't understand. They will never understand what it's like because it'll never happen to them. What makes me feel more angry is that it's maternity. It's put in place to protect women.
Michaela's hope of going to university seems as distant as ever, as she fights to keep the bailiffs at bay and keep the roof over her kids' heads.
Luckily we're not big eaters, you know what I mean?
For Michaela, it was unpaid maternity. For Sandra, a mistake to her benefits that pushed her into debt.
We're all in the same boat, you know what I mean? All skins.
Making ends meet remains a daily struggle.
When did you run out of money this month?
About the 4th of Jan, this Jan. Because it had expensive, I had to get a taxi home from hospital because it worked well.
So now if you need to go to hospital, how'd you get there?
Well, if I was to go to hospital now, it would be a 3 to 4 hour walk for me.
Sandra says she's not wishing her life away, but when she turns 60 in 3 years, a free bus pass will be life-changing. Meanwhile, Mary's loan repayments still haven't caught up with her, but she's anxious when her existing benefits switch to the new system of universal credit. It will push her into taking another.
Eventually they are going to catch up, but when you're in that situation and you're struggling and you're really down in the dumps, you know you can turn to them and they will give you money. I'm dreading when I do go on universal credit, I will be getting a loan.
And when will that happen?
They reckon about February next month.
People can't budget what they haven't got, and deprivation offers little way out of debt. It's a losing battle, an endless cycle, and little comfort knowing so many families are in the same position.